And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Glad you're able to join us. Should be another exciting show on tap. We're going to talk a lot of women's lacrosse and baseball throughout the show. But before we get started, do want to thank all of our sponsors of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Really appreciate all their support of the Tornadoes, Arby's, Brevard Orthopedics, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Pepsi, Salsaritas, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Appreciate their support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, do want to catch you up. It's been a little while since we've seen you. Spring break has happened here at Brevard College, and it is in the books. And the Tornadoes' spring sports were in action throughout spring break. And we'll start with Brevard College tennis. They traveled to Hilton Head Island, where they played 10 matches between the men's and women's team. The women's team, 3 straight wins at Hilton Head, and going for win number 4 today. They are currently at the McCoy Tennis Complex where they're taking on Meredith. They led 2-1 after doubles play. Men's and women's tennis will be in action this weekend at Covenant for the start of USA South Conference play in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. In the next home match for the Tornadoes versus LaGrange on March the 26th at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Hope you can join us there for some tennis. Softball was in action this weekend and a 9-1 win over Converse to split the doubleheader yesterday. A big day from Emily White at the plate. Savannah Jones had a big day in the circle. And then softball will be in action on Saturday versus Reinhardt, a doubleheader at the BC softball field. Hope you can join us for that one down at the BC softball field. Brevard College men's lacrosse has been busy at work throughout the spring break. 2 tough losses this past week to Husson and also a very good Concordia, Wisconsin club. But they're gearing up for the start of USA South Conference play at Huntington this weekend in Montgomery, Alabama. And then the return to Islamel Family Field when they take on Warren Wilson on Wednesday, March the 23rd. Hope you can come out to that one. That one's being billed as the Battle of the Blue Ridge between the Owls and the Tornadoes, as they'll be contending for the inaugural Blue Ridge Trophy. And then men's lacrosse will be host to William Peace on Saturday, March the 26th at 10 a.m. We are tentatively expected to have men's lacrosse on Tornado Talk next Monday night, so be sure to tune in to that. This weekend, track and field will be at the Ram Invitational in Columbia, South Carolina. And then the climbing team is preparing for the USA Climbing Divisionals. So this is a big one in Birmingham, Alabama, March 26th and 27th. So stay tuned for more news on that as we approach that big event for the climbing team. Baseball has been in action as well. A 10-5 win over Case Western Reserve University, and then a 3-2 win over Pfeiffer in 10 innings yesterday to split a doubleheader. And since we saw you last, a few USA South Conference Player of the Week honors were handed out. Frankie Vasquez, USA South Rookie of the Week, back on March the 6th. Cale Oehler, this is some breaking news, announced today, won USA South Rookie of the Week honors. Noah Webb, USA South Rookie Pitcher of the Week. That was announced today as well. And then the Tornadoes baseball team will be in action. 3-game series this weekend, start of conference play, so a big one at Gil Cone Field. That begins Friday. Games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Gil Cone Field. Lacrosse, women's lacrosse, a 13-7 win over William Peace. We're going to break down that big victory to start off USA South Conference play in just a matter of moments. Women's lacrosse will next play tomorrow night. That's Tuesday night, 6 p.m. at Islamel Family Field with a matchup versus Pfeiffer. And then the women's lacrosse team will host Warren Wilson on Wednesday at 6 p.m. So back-to-back nights, the opportunity to see the women's lacrosse team in action under the lights at Islamel Family Field. And with that, do want to invite in our first guest of the evening as we welcome into the show from the women's lacrosse coaching staff, head coach Kristin Rosato and assistant coach Roya Tahmassebi. Coach Rosato, Coach Tahmassebi, thanks for joining the program.
Hey, Phil.
Hey.
Well, it's great to see you both. I'm glad to have you here, and especially coming off a big win like the 13-7 victory that we saw this past weekend over William Peace. Coach Rosato, let's start with you. What was the key to that successful start to USA South Conference play?
I think a couple things. I think we knew they had a tough player at number 18, and we knew if we didn't shut her down, it was going to be a tough day. And that being said, I mean, she still had a good day. She still scored 6 goals, but that doesn't really kind of show how dominant our defense was, and just absolutely shutting her down at times. Just throwing a double team at her and just stopping all their attack. And then on the flip side, I think, key contributors that have been there all year, and Emily and Parker and Casey, helping put goals, put the ball in the back of the net. As great as the defense is, if we're not scoring goals, it doesn't matter. So I think overall it was a great team effort, great team win. And just overall effort, it was there in the ride, getting big turnovers, getting us second opportunities. So it was a good win. It felt good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Coach Roya, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, on top of the way that we played, just the overall energy that the players brought to the field that day, I mean, was amazing. Their energy was exciting. I mean, they came out there ready to win, and they did. So it was awesome.
Outstanding. Yeah, just a fantastic start to start 1-0 in USA South Conference play. And, right back at it this week, 2 games back-to-back days. Coach Rosato, can you tell us about, sort of that short turnaround, and also looking forward to playing games literally on back-to-back nights?
Yeah, we knew these 2 weeks were going to be tough. Having 6 games in 2 weeks is not easy, but I think it gets us ready for a tough conference schedule. USA South is not easy to compete in, and so gives us a lot of chances to fix things and get things right. So we have Pfeiffer starting tomorrow. I mean, for me, bring the energy. We can win this game. And that was kind of our scout. It's about us and our execution, but, more than anything, it's just bringing that same energy we brought to William Peace. We can beat a lot of teams with that. And then Warren Wilson, it's going to become kind of like a rivalry game, which I'm excited about. We used to, I think, have that a little bit with Montreat, but Warren Wilson go in Division III, and, we've got to know Becky really well. I think it's going to be a fun game on Wednesday. Hopefully the rain will hold off for us. And then Saturday, kind of, going into Averett, again, another tough conference game.
Coach Roya, from the players' perspective, as far as staying focused, classes started back up today as well. So kind of a different dynamic on campus compared to what we had last week. What's the key as far as, the student athletes kind of staying on point and making sure they continue, to get it done on the field as well?
Yeah, I mean, the focus is crucial this week. I mean, especially today. It was nice that we had a great sunny day for practice before heading into these 2 games. The focus is there. I know we're coming back from a week off of classes, but I think it was a good time for the players to really focus in on lacrosse and focus in on what our goals are for the season, and really kind of having the time to, do a little team bonding and kind of focus on our team. And then, of course, started with
think we may have lost Coach Roya there momentarily, but appreciate that. Coach Roya, you with us still?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, very good. I think we got most of that. Appreciate that. Coach Riz, as far as this year's squad, it's a really compelling mix of veterans and youth. And we're going to have, one of these freshman sensations, Emily Denaga, on the show in a little bit. Freshman goalkeeper Lexi McLaughlin getting it done. Danny Stavely, another freshman. But then there's a bunch of veterans, been around the program. And it really creates a interesting dynamic as far as how this team operates and leads to its success. Can you talk about this year's roster makeup?
Yeah. So all last year was a struggle. We had short numbers. COVID really, disrupted our roster and all that stuff. And all I kept saying was, guys, I have help coming in. We have a great freshman class coming in, and they have been every bit of what I thought they could be. Emily is an absolute force, and I think if we can continue to develop her, not only physically but mentally, all the freshmen, Cass, Lex, Danny, I'm gonna miss somebody, Elise. They're all great, and they bring so much energy. I tell them all the time, they have brought the energy back to the program. I think they have lifted these veterans up and giving them that kind of push to, start fighting again and start competing again. We haven't had that. We definitely didn't have it last year. So it's been awesome. They brought a lot of energy back to me, so I'm really grateful for them. This junior class means a ton to me. They've done so much for this program and have really, helped secure what we stand for as a team and as a culture. And so it's been really great to see the blend of the two groups. And I think we're getting the results because, they care, both groups do, and they've come together. And I'm really excited for this year. And I think we have a lot of great things coming up.
And Coach Roya, you've been around a couple programs, both as a student athlete and also a coach. Now that you've, ingrained yourself with Brevard College Tornadoes women's lacrosse, what are your impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I love Division III programs for everything that you see going on the field. I mean, along with the powerhouses that we have on our freshman squad, I mean, we have players like Elise and Lindsay who just learned how to play lacrosse, and they're even impacting us on the field. I mean, they're helping us out on defense and on attack. They're helping us with the culture. They're helping grow our program, and we're excited to have them with us. It's just awesome. I mean, the energy is great. The passion for lacrosse is huge. I mean, especially at the Division III level, without having, the money, the scholarships and all of that, just the passion that these players bring to our program is amazing.
Coach Rosato, we have a number of home games coming up, so that's opportunities for NATO Nation to come on out to Islamel Family Field and check out this year's squad. Give us a bit of a sales pitch. Why should members of the Brevard College community and anybody who might be tuning in, why should they come on out and see your squad?
I think honestly, the energy at our games has been amazing. I mean, and it starts on the field, but it goes up into the crowd. Every goal, I mean, it sounds like we just won the World Cup. It's amazing. So come out there, be loud. Help us win those games. The fans are just as much a part of it as the players. So come out, help us get that energy right, help us win that game.
And Coach Roya, that does make a difference, right? From the players' perspective, if they hear that crowd behind them, correct?
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. And I mean, even with the players that were here from other teams during spring break, I mean, the energy is great behind us, hearing the calls from all their friends and supporting athletes, everything.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, stick with us here. We're going to bring in your student athletes who are going to join us into the program as well, and ask you to help us introduce these two as we are efforting a couple of the women's lacrosse student athletes as joining the program now. Parker Moore and Emily Denaga. Coach Roya, we'll let you go first. Tell us a little more about these two.
Yeah. I mean, the two that we have on screen, we joke around. We call them the draw dogs. I mean, they're powerhouses on the draw. I mean, with Parker, starting off taking the draw and Emily on the circle and kind of popping Emily in there, every once in a while, they really make a difference. I mean, they're starting off, that first whistle, and they're the first ones in there. They're starting off that action, and they're doing great. I mean, their energy is amazing. Their play is amazing. I'm happy that they're both here.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach Rosato, tell NATO Nation about these two outstanding student athletes.
Yeah, going back to the blend of the old and the new. This is a perfect example. Emily, a freshman, Parker being a junior. Both big playmakers, not only on the draw, but on the offensive end. Emily's a midi for us, Parker being an attack, but just the energy they bring, as well as just the stability they bring to the offensive end, especially. It's a big part of the results that we have right now. So grateful for both of them.
Very good. Head coach Kristin Rosato, assistant coach Roya Tahmassebi. Congratulations on that big win over the weekend, USA South Conference opener, an impressive start to the 2022 campaign. And we can't wait to see you at Ives Lamel Family Field for the games this week. We'll see you Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Cool. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, there they go, coaches from women's lacrosse. And the aforementioned Emily Denaga in the bottom location, also up top, Parker Moore from the women's lacrosse team. Well, Parker, let's start with you, the veteran of this duo. Big win over the weekend over William Peace. It was cold out there. It's worth mentioning that. Tell us about the day. What were the keys to victory? And, why did it go so well for the Tornadoes on such a cold day where you guys were able to start 1-0 in USA South Conference play? Tell us about it, Parker.
Honestly, I think it was mostly just all of the energy we had. I mean, we were all so excited the entire week. We were so excited to play them. And even during warm-ups, like we were cheering on for every catch we made, every ground ball we got, every goal we made. And so I really just think the energy, and we just kept the energy, even when we were tied, even when they were up by 1 point, like the energy was still there. And we were all just so excited.
And Emily Denaga, the freshman midfielder, joining us as well. Emily, you had to feel good to start off 1-0 in conference play. What did you think were the keys to the victory?
I really think we did well using the field to our advantage and using every player on the field. We celebrated well when we did something, and it like the energy was high, both in the locker room, warm-ups, during the game, and even after the game. We were just a family, and we celebrated everybody.
Yeah, and the results showed. Do want to mention the weather, because that was one of the colder days I've seen an outdoor sport occur here on the campus of Brevard College, and it was right around freezing, even colder than that at the start of the day in the morning. Parker, tell us how you all dealt with the weather. When it's just that cold, how do you guys get by?
Some of the girls had some latex gloves that they put on, and we just put on some leggings and undershirts just to try and stay warm. And if anything, I feel like it made us move a lot faster because we did not want to stay still and get cold. So we were just constantly moving and keeping ourselves warm.
And Emily, was that a challenge for you as well to handle that cold weather? How did you manage?
It was definitely different. I just had leggings and undershirt on, but it really helped to go to the locker room at halftime to warm up and, get feeling back in my hands.
Well, certainly you guys got it done, no doubt about it. What an impressive win over the weekend over William Peace. Each of these student athletes scored 5 goals in the victory. Now, Emily and Parker, I do want to talk about this draw control, because it's the first time I heard this nickname, the Draw Dogs, and I would love to learn a little more here. You guys are piling up those draw controls, no doubt about it. Parker, let's start with you. What's the key to a successful draw control?
Roya always says click, dip, rip. So we just always click, dip, and rip, and then I just try to get it down the sideline or to wherever Em is, and she just fights so hard to get that ball, and it usually works out.
And it worked on Saturday. Emily with a game-high 10 draw controls. She also picked up 8 ground balls, which was a career high as well. Emily, tell us about, those draw controls. What's the key from your standpoint?
Well, I usually try to box out my opponent, get the step in front of them and watch the ball in the air, follow the bounce, pick it up and go.
Would love to let NATO Nation learn a little more about each of your journeys. And we'll start with Parker, the junior attacker from Raleigh, North Carolina, Millbrook High School. Tell us about your lacrosse journey, Parker, and when did you start playing? When did it get serious? And ultimately, how did you find Brevard College?
Well, my freshman year of high school, my mom told me I had to try out for a sport, and if I didn't pick, she'd make me run track. And I hate running, so I was like, let me try lacrosse. I've never heard of it, but there's actually a lot of running in lacrosse, so that didn't work out too well. But I just fell in love with the sport, fell in love with my coach, and then my sophomore year, I started playing club, and that's where I got the idea that I could possibly play in college. So I actually went to William Peace University my freshman year of college and then transferred out of there and attended Brevard my sophomore year. And I've just loved it ever since.
And then all capped off with a win over William Peace this past weekend in the most recent memory. Emily, tell us about your journey. You're a freshman midfielder from Buford, Georgia, Mountain View High School. Tell us about when you first picked up a lacrosse stick and how did that evolve?
So I started playing lacrosse in 5th grade, and I actually started playing with a boys lacrosse stick, which is a lot different. But I played rec ball up until high school, and then I played junior varsity my freshman year of high school, and then sophomore to senior year varsity. And then the upperclassmen were talking a lot about, getting recruited and playing in college. So I got on a website, signed myself up for recruiting, and Coach Rosato reached out to me and offered me a spot on the team.
Well, we're pleased to have you here, no doubt about it. Each of you, Emily Denaga and Parker Moore, both coming off big weekends versus William Peace. Denaga 5 goals and 8 ground balls, Moore 5 goals and 1 assist. Parker, tell us about this week ahead. Classes are back in session, and meanwhile, 2 lacrosse games on back-to-back evenings, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tell us, how you all as a team are staying focused and getting prepared for these next 2 matchups.
We talked a lot at practice today about the energy. We really, for tomorrow's game, just want to make sure that the energy we had for the William Peace game is the same energy we have for Pfeiffer tomorrow. It's a very winnable game for us if we show up. And so just having that energy and making sure everyone is hyped is really going to be the key. And then the same thing for Warren Wilson's game. Just make sure that energy is there and we're just all supporting each other.
Emily, you feel like the team's in a good spot heading into this crucial set of games coming up?
I definitely feel like if we showed up the way we showed up against William Peace, we'll be very successful in the next couple games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Would like to harken back to what Coach was talking about as far as the blend of youth and veteran players on this squad. And Parker, I'd like you to comment on this freshman class and just how they have integrated themselves so quickly and become such great contributors to this year's squad and the success of this year's team. Tell us about these freshmen and just how special they are, Parker.
I love every single one of them. Last year, all of our freshmen kind of quit. So having these freshmen come in and stay with the program has just been amazing. And having them help us win these games is just even better. When they all scored their first collegiate goals, we were so excited for them. We always hug each other after every game. And it's just a real family.
And Emily, I'd like you to comment on the veterans on the team, these juniors, these seniors, who have, I would imagine helped show you the way around and help you get up to speed, as far as college lacrosse goes. Tell us about these veterans and the leaders on the team.
They definitely took us in like family. Like I was really shy when we first started, but they goofed around with us. I felt really comfortable around them. And it's a good program, a good family.
Just a couple more for you two before I let you go and continue your preparations for the week ahead. I'd love to learn a little more about your academics. Parker, tell us what you're majoring in and, what your focus is as far as the studies.
I'm majoring in business administration, and I'd really like to go into something with marketing, whether that be sports marketing or some other sort of marketing.
And Emily, a freshman, so don't expect you to have it all figured out already. But, we were talking offline a little bit, and you mentioned that you have selected a major. Tell us about it.
I'm hoping in majoring in criminal justice, and then I have a plan of going into arson investigation after I graduate.
Very good. Community service, always a big part of the Brevard College women's lacrosse team, and I know you all do a lot around Transylvania County. Parker, tell us how important that is to the team, and maybe a highlight or two for yourself.
I mean, to me, community service is kind of also team bonding for us. We usually go to either the Boys and Girls Club and help clean there, or we'll go to Rooster Head and work with all of the animals there, and working with the pigs and the chickens are always so much fun. Or we've recently gone to Free Rein, which is where we just work with horses and cleaning up their stalls and taking them on walks, which is my personal favorite because I just think horses are so awesome.
Emily, has there been a favorite community service activity that you've had the chance to engage in?
Definitely Free Rein as well. It's really nice to be around the horses, and I've made a lot more friends and stuff on the team there.
Very good. Well, before I let you two go, do want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs or thank yous, anyone who may have helped you along the way who you'd like to shout out. Parker Moore, the floor is yours.
I just want to thank my dad and my mom and my high school coaches for helping me get to where I am today.
Well said. Emily Denaga, thank yous or shout outs?
I'd like to thank all the coaches I've had throughout the years, definitely my mom and dad, and my two brothers, Jared and Tanner.
All right, Parker Moore and Emily Denaga, great job this weekend. We really enjoyed seeing you all get that USA South Conference victory over William Peace. Can't wait to see you again in action this week at Islamel Family Field. And great job this evening on Tornado Talk as well. We'll see you over at Islamel Family Field for more women's lacrosse action. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And we're going to quickly switch gears now and talk baseball because the Tornadoes coming off some dramatic stuff yesterday and a big win midweek as well as Brevard College baseball. A 3-2 win over Pfeiffer. That was late last night. You had to stay up late to see that score come across the ticker. And Brevard College with a win over Case Western Reserve 10-5 as well. And hopefully we'll have a guest for you shortly here also from Brevard College baseball. Tornadoes gearing up for another weekend this weekend versus Maryville. And joined now by baseball assistant coach Rob Julian. Coach Julian, thanks for joining the show.
It's always a pleasure, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Coach, let's start with what happened yesterday. The first game was canceled due to weather on Saturday, but a doubleheader yesterday at Pfeiffer. You lose game number one, but a dramatic 10-inning affair, a wild roller coaster in game number two, where the Tornadoes won 3-2. For those who weren't able to, follow along or watch this one on the stream, tell us what went down yesterday at Pfeiffer.
Yeah, we were supposed to go there and play, doubleheader 2 sevens. Game one goes into extras, end up playing 9. Game two goes into extras, we end up playing 10. Kind of one of those marathon days. But it was fun. We were able to go in and get a split. Obviously, you always want to go and take 2, but a split isn't the worst result. And I think we showed some resiliency and showed that we're able to do it whenever you have those marathon type games, and the offense might not be doing what they've been doing. We really showed that we can win in those close games.
And Coach, on the mound in that game 2 win, some really great work. Nathan Sanders, Noah Webb, Bryce Bowers. Tell us about your pitching staff and how they stepped up yesterday.
Yeah, Nate's been struggling a little bit with a shoulder issue, and being able to get him back out there. We were resting him for the last couple of weeks to make sure he was ready to go for Maryville this upcoming week. But being able to get him back out there and get him back in the action, I know he was excited about that. Then being able to go to Noah Webb, who just won the Conference Rookie Pitcher of the Week award, which is well deserved for him. He was able to come in, do his job, and then Chap, that's kind of what he does. He's been on here before, and we talk about that a lot. Where we know that we can bring him into games, and games are going to be over. So really proud of those guys, and really excited to see where we end up going.
Yeah, the threesome, 10 innings of work, 7 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. So just outstanding work by them to, keep the Tornadoes right there in that one through the extra inning affair. Now, want to date back a little further, Coach, and this was a wild one as well at Gilcone Field last time we saw you there. The game against Case Western Reserve, a 10-5 win for the Tornadoes that featured a 9-0 run. I thought I was watching a basketball game, a 9-0 run in baseball, where the Tornadoes stormed ahead and for the 10-5 win over Case Western Reserve. For those who missed that one, tell us what went down.
No, I thought Aiden Petty actually went out and gave us a pretty good start. Me and him talked, and a couple at bats go differently. That's a whole different game. Being able to bring our bullpen guys in, and I think we put up 6 straight zeros or something like that, 7 straight zeros. Allowing our offense to kind of do what they've done all year for us. They've been able to pick us up when the pitching has been lacking, and they've also been able to pick us up whenever the pitching has been good and we needed some insurance. But that was really, really exciting to see. A really fun day. I think that was probably one of the more complete games that we've put together thus far. And excited to continue to do that, especially at home at Gilcone Field. But yeah, super proud of those guys to be able to go in there and the pitchers being able to put up zeros, and our hitters being able to capitalize on opportunities to extend that lead once we were able to.
Yeah, Case Western Reserve led this one 5-1 in the middle of the 4th inning, and then the Tornadoes shut them down, like you mentioned, zeros the rest of the way. As far as pitching and defense goes, and then the 9 unanswered runs by the Tornado offense to take the victory. So gratifying win there. Now we turn the corner and we head towards USA South Conference play, which begins this weekend at Gilcone Field. The first conference series, 3 games, all 9 innings apiece. Kind of a whole different dynamic, but not to mention the stakes are that much higher, as far as conference play beginning. Tell us about this weekend ahead.
Yeah, Maryville's going to be fun. They're a good team, but that's why we play these tough out of conference opponents to get ready for this. We've been preparing for the last 17 games to play on Friday. All those games are important, before this, but this is kind of when it starts to get a little bit more real. We're excited to have them here. They're, as I mentioned, they're good. It's going to be three battles. They got a couple arms that can really chuck it. They're going to be ready to swing it, so we're going to have to be able to match that energy. I'm happy that it's at home, and we're going to have, hopefully a pretty big crowd here to help support us. But yeah, like you mentioned, these conference games are different, and I think that's one of the cool things about having those games yesterday was those felt like they were conference games. When I told the guys that after the game, that's the atmosphere that it's going to be. It gets a little chippy. The energy gets high, and those are fun. Those are games that you kind of see what you're made of, and all those workouts you did in the fall, and everything leading up to this kind of all get to start paying off now.
And Coach, kind of as far as the momentum goes, winners of 4 of the last 5, playing very well here in the March month, 11-6 overall. As a staff, coaching staff, you guys got to be pleased as far as overall how things are looking heading into Maryville. But I know at the same time you want to keep the pedal to the metal. Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've been very pleased with the way we've been playing. The offense kind of speaks for itself. We're averaging 8 runs a game, something like that. The pitchers have been able to pick it up here as of late. But we're excited. And this is, I think. I don't really know the historical data of it, but I think it's probably one of the better starts, that Brevard College has seen in a little while. So that's exciting for us as a program, and I think for the institution as a whole. And we're ready to keep rolling, like you mentioned. We gotta be able to understand, like see this and understand that we are doing really, really well, but at the end of the day, we tell the guys that we haven't really accomplished anything quite yet. We're ready to keep winning ball games and keep going.
Now, Coach, you mentioned the program, the institution as a whole, and you know, yourself, head coach Mike Victory, also volunteer assistant coaches Steve Huckey and Jacob Dennis, you know, just doing great work as far as like, you know, the 360-degree, you know, approach to the program. But now that you've been here for a little bit and, you know, you're on the recruiting trail, you know, tell us, you know, your feelings about just, you know, why Brevard College baseball, you know, continues to have this bright future, you know, and just, you know, what kind of potential we have here. And not to mention just the, you know, the great culture that, you know, you guys have started to build here at Brevard College baseball.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that a little bit backwards. I think, you know, this is obviously a great place to be in general. You know, the campus is beautiful. The area is beautiful. And people come here and they like to be here and, you know, they buy into what, you know, we're trying to do. Early on, it was, you know, we're changing a program, right? So it's a little bit, you know, difficult to kind of sell that to a lot of guys. And we got the right guys to believe in that. And, you know, they came here and, you know, that kind of started to change. And now that, you know, we're doing some things, you know, we're getting on more radars, more people know about us. You know, I'm getting blown up by emails all day, every day. So, you know, it's kind of a cool problem to have. But if there's one sole reason for our success, it's Jason Jucker. And he broke the hits record, NCAA era hits record. And I kind of wanted to make sure that I gave him a little bit of a shout out here. Because, you know, he kind of embodies what we do. If Jucker wouldn't have bought in, then this doesn't work. You know, we have, you know, almost 50 guys on the roster. You know, we have a coaching staff, but this is Jason Jucker's team. So as, you know, kind of he goes, we go, and, you know, we're not the program we are without him. So I just want him to know how much I love him and how much I appreciate him. And I'm going to be really sad when he takes his last ABs as a NATO. But I'm super excited to, you know, hopefully send him out the right way and, you know, for whatever his future is going to hold for him.
Well said, Coach. And you mentioned, and I would be remiss not mentioning myself, the Jason Jucker hits record, now the all-time leader in the NCAA era here at Brevard College in the hits department, which, you know, what more can you ask for? And, you know, he gets it done in the field as well. The senior shortstop from Altamont Springs, Florida. And, you know, even more as far as all that he contributes behind the scenes and as the backbone of this team in so many ways. Well, Coach, looking forward to this weekend. Before we let you go, you know, one final sales pitch, Coach, as far as, you know, why fans should come on out to Gilcone Field, check out this squad versus Maryville. Big games this weekend.
Yeah, they're a fun group. You know, they bring a lot of energy, and they're gonna play good baseball. You know, I've said it a lot. You know, they're a weird group of guys, but I love them. You know, we always find a way to get it done, and, you know, it's always better when, you know, there's fans in the stands. I know they appreciate it just as much because, you know, it's whenever fans are bringing energy and we're bringing energy. You know, it's Gilcone Field's a tough place to play if you're a road team. You know, you got all of our guys and you know, all the fans, and, you know, they're just going at you. You know, these are going to be big games for us. You know, us and Maryville don't really have the greatest relationship with one another. So, you know, it's going to be fun. You know, I think if, you know, you're free on, you know, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday afternoon, you know, come over and check us out. You know, if you've never been to a game before, or if, you know, you have been, you know, it's a good environment, and, you know, we're really, really excited to start off conference play and, you know, hopefully get a few this weekend.
3 games versus Maryville, Friday at 3 p.m., Saturday 1 p.m., Sunday 1 p.m., all at Gilcone Field. The start of USA South Conference play. So this is when, you know, the second season, you know, sort of begins here at Brevard College and in the USA South Conference baseball. Well, Coach, stick with us just a couple moments longer. We're going to bring in a couple of the baseball student athletes as entering the building here, Logan Clark and Cale Oehler. Coach, before we let you go, help us introduce to NATO Nation these 2 student athletes.
Yeah, you know, Logan's a pretty familiar name. He's been on here a few times now, and, you know, guys, people know what he can do. You know, I think he's kind of started off slow. You know, he was kind of getting that little sophomore slump maybe a little bit where, you know, teams are kind of understanding him now that he's not, you know, just the new guy anymore. But he's adapted well, and, you know, he's doing really well for us. Cale's kind of an anomaly. I don't know how this is going to go, you know, for you, but, you know, I guess we'll see. You know, funny story with Cale is I actually recruited him as a pitcher. Didn't know he could hit. Came in, could swing it a little bit, played the outfield. One day we were like, Cale, did you ever play first base? And he said no, but he could try. So the rest is history. But yeah, they're both two, vital parts of our team. Logan brings a ton of energy, not to mention he can swing it a little bit. And Cale's the same way. We have a couple, spots in our lineup where, there's always an opportunity to produce runs. And one of those spots is Cale, and he always ends up, producing runs for us. So I'm really excited to, watch the two of these guys continue to thrive, not just now, but, for the next couple of years.
Very good. Well said, Coach. Well, can't wait to see you back out there at the yard this weekend at Gil Cone Field, 3-game series versus Maryville. Thanks for joining the program, Coach Julian, and we'll see you down there for the Maryville series. Big stuff this weekend. Thanks, Coach.
Yep, I appreciate you, Phil. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he goes. Assistant Coach Rob Julian. And as Coach Julian helped us introduce these two, Cale Oehler and also Logan Clark. Cale Oehler, the freshman first baseman, left-handed pitcher, and outfielder from Charlotte, North Carolina, Cox Mill High School. Cale, thanks for joining the program.
Appreciate you having me.
And also with us here, Logan Clark, the sophomore outfielder from St. Petersburg, Florida, St. Petersburg High School. Logan, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, Logan, let's start with you. Catch NATO Nation up on yesterday's extra inning roller coaster. That proved to be a late night for the NATOs, but a win 3-2, we'll take it. How did that one go down?
It was a hard-fought game. They had a lot of great pitchers out there throwing, and it was a cold one out there, so we were all battling with that as well, but we pulled it out somehow. It was a well-fought game. I was very proud of the boys for coming back after a hard loss in the first game, a walk-off, and coming back and showing them what we're made of.
And Cale Oehler, some breaking news, by the way. USA South Rookie of the Week, just announced a couple of hours ago. So congratulations on that. Cale, tell us about this past week. The win over Pfeiffer last night kind of capped it all off. But, that win over Case Western Reserve, a wild one as well. And, you guys kept busy through the spring break, no doubt. Tell us about it, Cale.
Yeah, we just need to swing the bats a little bit more coming into the Case Western game. And we started off a little slow, but we ramped it up and ended up pulling that one. And then coming into Pfeiffer, we swung it well, but they had really good pitching, and it was a really good battle.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Logan, we talked to Coach Julian about Jason Jucker breaking the career hits record, and you broke a record as well. I want to get to that in a moment. First, let's talk a little bit about Jason, all-time leader now, career hits here at Brevard College. Tell us what it's like to have him as a teammate.
He's a great leader on the field and off the field. He really gets everyone together as a family and gets everyone working hard. He's like a little bit more laid back on the field, as far as directing people around what to do and everything, but he's just the presence that everyone needs on the field. They know he's a leader, and he really just helps everyone out. He's a great role model to look up to, especially as a younger player.
Cale, anything to add to that?
Not really. Logan's hit it on the head. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you guys are, and we talked about this with one of the coaches from Lacrosse actually earlier in the show. You guys are an interesting blend of youth and veteran players that really makes a great mix and great, dynamic throughout the team. Now, Logan, while Jucker broke the hits record, you broke the school record for career triples. And, the art of the triple, it's just something you don't see in baseball all that often, but certainly, makes a huge difference in the outcome of any given game. Tell us about hitting triples. What's that all about?
Honestly, sometimes it's about placement. Last year I hit a lot of backside ones, so right on the right field line, and I just keep running as hard as I can. But this year it's just been more of hard hit balls, and I hit few over the center fielder, and I hit one to like the right center gap. And I guess I'm just kind of fast because I've been running as hard as I can, and I get there. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, congrats on that record. I'm sure there's plenty more to come. Now, Cale, we mentioned at the top of the show, the different positions that you're listed at, and Coach Julian talked about it a little bit as well. We've seen you at both pitcher and also first base, and you're listed as an outfielder as well. Can you talk about yourself playing those different positions? The versatility that you bring.
Yeah, pretty much my whole life I've been just a pitcher and an outfielder. Like in high school, like if I wasn't pitching, I was in the outfield. But I'm always open for opportunity, and first base came up, and I was gonna make the best of it, and sure enough, I ended up getting it. But it's a good tool to have, just to be able to play everywhere.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Certainly, is a luxury, from the coach's perspective that they can use you in all those different spots. Now, Cale, when you're called into pitch and you're suddenly, asked to come to the mound, and perhaps you've been playing in the field or, swinging the bat all game, tell us what that's like as an athlete, making that transition, and suddenly having to focus on throwing strikes and getting outs.
Yeah, it's totally different than playing the field. I mean, you're just so you're so locked in on the batter, and just you gotta focus up a lot more. But like it's really nothing new for me because I've been doing it my whole life. But it's pretty much you just gotta focus up a lot more.
Logan, would love for you to let NATO Nation know a little bit more about your baseball journey as well. Tell us, when did you get started? And by the way, were you an outfielder all the way along?
So I started playing when I was like 3 years old. My parents put me in T-ball really early, and just been playing ever since. But all throughout like Little League and everything else, I played mostly like shortstop, and I pitched a little bit. But as soon as I got to high school, my coach was like, well, you're kind of built like an outfielder, so we're going to stick you out there. And I've been playing ever since. I love the outfield so much.
Very cool. And Cale, tell us a little bit about your journey, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Tell us, when it got real serious with baseball and, ultimately finding your way to collegiate baseball.
Yeah, it pretty much started in middle school. I mean, I was kind of been like one of the better guys on the team, but I didn't. And when I hit high school, at first it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm not the good guy out here, so I had to work for it. But also it was like I wanted to be that guy, and it always had been a good feeling in me.
Yeah, very good. Well, guys, big weekend coming up. Matchup versus Maryville, the start of conference play. Logan, what's going to be the key this week to preparation and, you guys executing this weekend versus Maryville?
I'd say our focus and practice this week is going to be really important. We need to go out with the bats hot early in the game. And our biggest thing was when we play it all the way through 9 innings and totally have all the focus and keep the bats going, we were trying to do like a run every inning at least. And when we do that, it's really good. A lot of teams can't hang if you got a lot of offense going, and our pitchers have been pretty solid. So I'm feeling great about this weekend.
Cale, yeah. Apologies there for the technical difficulties. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Cale, yeah, you feel like the team's ready for this weekend versus Maryville?
Oh yeah, I mean, our pitching staff's going to come out and shove like they always do, and our bats are going to be hot. I mean, as long as we just keep getting hits like we do, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, winners of 4 of the last 5. Looking forward to seeing you guys continuing that momentum this weekend. Big series versus Maryville. Well, before we let you two go, do want to give you each the opportunity for any thank yous or shout outs. Anybody you may have, just may have helped you along the way. The floor is yours, Logan Clark. Thank yous or shout outs?
I'd like to shout out the outfield squad. I spend a lot of time with the boys, and they're a great group of guys. And along with the rest of my teammates. They're great, and definitely all my family back down in Florida and up here in North Carolina. Got a little bit of family, so they made a big impact on my life, and couldn't be where I am today without them.
Well said, Logan Clark. And Cale Oehler, the freshman first baseman, left-handed pitcher, outfielder from Charlotte, North Carolina, and also the USA South Rookie of the Week, just announced a couple hours ago. Cale, thank yous or shout-outs?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my family, my parents, definitely the infield squad, and Jordan Douglas and Lee Parker. We always go to Bojangles before every home game.
Very good. Well, we know baseball players by nature are pretty superstitious. So we'll chalk that one up to that. Hey, last one, guys. The one other thing that happened since we saw you last and talked, some baseball here on Tornado Talk, the MLB lockout concluded. So I'd love to hear from you guys as ball players, how excited you are that we're going to get Major League Baseball, but also tell us about your favorite team and, who do you root for, whether it be a team or, a player in the big leagues. Logan, tell us about it.
Well, I live down in St. Pete, and I got the Tampa Bay Rays about 10, 15 minutes from my house, so I love going to watch them. They're definitely my favorite team, so I was very excited to hear that the MLB ended the lockout and finally get to go watch my favorite team over the summer, so very glad to hear it.
Cale, tell us about your MLB interest.
Yeah, I've always been a Braves fan, and I'm glad to have it back, but they need to sign Freddie Freeman back soon.
Yeah, it's kind of a hot stove situation at the moment. A lot going on the wire as well. Well, fellas, we can't wait to see you guys in action this weekend when the Tornadoes head back to Gilcone Field to take on Maryville. The start of USA South Conference play, so it's starting to get big-time atmospheres down there at Gilcone Field, and can't wait to see you. Thanks again for joining the show, and we will see you this weekend at Gilcone Field. Great job, Logan and Cale.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right, there they go. And thank you, NATO Nation, for tuning in to another edition of Tornado Talk. Appreciate all of our guests from both women's lacrosse and also baseball. And appreciate you, NATO Nation, for tuning in and catching up with us. A lot going on around the spring sports, and even the fall sports are getting started with the spring portion of their training and their season. A lot of practices starting today from the fall sports as well, but all sorts of action this week. Check out bctornadoes.com for all your scores, news, schedules, stats, and information. And be sure to follow the Tornadoes on Twitter and Instagram at BC Tornadoes, and like us on Facebook, Brevard College Tornado Athletics. And also the YouTube channel is where you can find all the broadcasts as well. Be sure to check that out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you just hit that little bell on the YouTube channel and you'll receive all the notifications of when Brevard College Tornado Athletics goes live. I want to also thank producer Abby Party. Great work behind the scenes on this edition of Tornado Talk. And we'll see you this week. Women's lacrosse, baseball, softball, all in action on the campus of Brevard College. Can't wait to see you at a Brevard College Tornado Athletics event soon. Thanks again for joining the show. Go Tornadoes!